I was sitting in Los Angeles and I was thinking, Last Night in Soho was going to be my next film. I really wanted to do something completely different that was a real departure for me, something that was a challenge in a lot of ways, something that was more serious, a film that had like female leads. And I knew it was like the right thing to do is to sort of, after Baby Driver, is to make an original movie, like, as you know, rather than go straight into a sequel or to sort of like, you know, go off and do a franchise movie. It's like, if I have the opportunity to make an original film, I have to take it. In Last Night in Soho, Thomasin McKenzie plays Eloise, a young, aspiring fashion designer who moves from her rural home in England to the big city of London to study at the London College of Fashion. When she comes to the big city, it's not all she thought it would be, and she starts to retreat into a dream world, the London of the 60s. And in this dream world, she meets the dazzling wannabe singer Sandy, played by Anya Taylor-Joy. But these glamorous dreams are not all that they seem to be, and then the cracks start to show and the story begins. I also have this recurring time travel fantasy, the idea of going back to a decade, a time that I didn't previously experience. And so I guess for a long time, the idea of going back to the 60s is an exciting prospect, but it's always tempered with this nagging feeling that, you know, to do that is you just want to experience the good things about the 60s. And of course, not everything was good about the 60s, but so there was something that I guess becomes the point of the movie, is like, it's dangerous to romanticize the past. I start to wonder, I wonder if there's a way of doing two of these movies in one. Like, you have a movie about a girl who comes to London in the modern day, and then in her dreams, she sees the journey of another girl coming to London in the 1960s. So it became this idea of this dual narrative, and the idea of really getting to live somebody else's life through them. So you're living vicariously through somebody else's experiences. Once you've written the script, the very first thing you think about is like, can we pull this off in Soho? Because that's important. I don't really want to be recreating Soho like in another area. So we kind of grabbed the bull by the horns and said, we're going to make this film in central London. And so what that requires is an enormous amount of planning, the amazing cooperation of the City of Westminster to let us actually shoot in areas of London that never close, even on a Sunday. Like, Soho doesn't shut. So you have to figure out a way to work around Soho to shoot scenes that take place in the modern day and to shoot scenes that take place in 60s London with period dressing and period cars and changing all the signs and changing all the ground floors of everything. And it was a Herculean endeavor. And I think it's a credit to my location team, production design, and ADs, all of the AD department, that we were able to sort of pull it off.